Humza Yousaf has finally resigned today, which is fantastic news. But the ironic thing is that the real reason why he has had to resign is because of two very useful things that Humza Yousaf did. Firstly, let's just take a look back at that resignation.
Therefore, after spending the weekend reflecting on what is best for my party, for the government and for the country I lead, I've concluded that repairing our relationship across the political divide can only be done with someone else at the helm. I have therefore informed the SNP's National Secretary of my intention to stand down as party leader and ask that she commences a leadership contest for my replacement as soon as possible.
So there we go. That was Humza Yousaf earlier today, resigning as First Minister of Scotland, something that many of us have all wanted for a long time. But most of us want him gone because he has Humza Yousaf, as we call him. Scotland is falling apart as a consequence of his uselessness. However, why did he have to resign today? Well, it all leads back to this. Patrick Harvie will not accept CAS review on gender identity. So this big fallout this week has really been to do with the fallout between the SNP and the Green Party. Why did the Scottish Greens and Humza Yousaf fall out? Well, it all started with the CAS review. The CAS review, which was welcome by many of us. However, it was not welcome to the Scottish Greens. They do not take this as science. They think that, as the Rainbow Greens said, it is a discredited social murder charter. That is what the Scottish Greens think of this. Now, Patrick Harvie, just going back to this, Patrick Harvie is the co-leader of the Greens in Scotland, and he refused to accept the CAS report. And then, as a consequence of this disagreement over the CAS report, he and Lorna Slater were considering offering their members a vote on whether they should stay in government. They threatened to leave. They threatened to get rid of the Butte House agreement over this. Now, this was not just because of the hormones, admittedly. This was to do with some Green policy as well. Greens to debate scrapping SNP power sharing pact. Party members are frustrated after the Scottish Government backtracked on climate pledges and restrictions on puberty blockers for young people. So we had two things going on, but this really did start with the puberty blockers. But nevertheless, both of the events that led up to the Greens falling out with the SNP were cases of Humza Yousaf actually doing something useful for once. Humza Yousaf, he stopped puberty blockers from being given to young people at the only gender clinic in Scotland, which I think most of us will agree is a win and was a very good thing for him to do. And the other thing that he did was he backtracked on some climate pledges, which was also a very smart thing to do. So what actually happened there? We had this target to reduce emissions by 75% by 2030. Now, as we've seen with the other net zero commitments, here these schemes are A, incredibly expensive, and B, very unrealistic. Humza Yousaf realised how expensive and unrealistic this target was, so intelligently actually got rid of it. So that leaves us where we are now, where you have this horrendous fallout with Humza Yousaf and the Scottish Greens. Humza Yousaf then thought, okay, I will end the Butte House agreement before they have a chance to have a huge vote on it and take me down. That didn't go too well, did it? He thought that he could end the Butte House agreement with the Greens and then they would still like him. I mean, that was a pretty poor miscalculation. The Scottish Tories then saw an opportunity to put in a no confidence vote on him, and he very quickly realised that he was going to lose that because the Scottish Greens then said they would support the no confidence vote because they were very, very angry over the debacle on the puberty blockers and that ditching of that 75% reduction in emissions by 2030. So, interestingly, that is how we end up with Humza Yousaf resigning today. He sees he's going to lose that no confidence vote, which all goes back to this fallout over puberty blockers and ditching that net zero target. So I'm glad that he's gone. However, I do feel a little bit bad for him, I will admit, because this came down to him doing two good things, and that was what led to his downfall. But nevertheless, I do think that he deserves to go, and he has deserved to go for a long time because he has done nothing useful in Scotland, and hence he lives up to the name Humza Useless. And of course, we cannot finish this video without watching him being especially useless on a scooter. Let's watch it in slow-mo. That, ladies and gentlemen, the First Minister of Scotland, no longer. Thank you very much for watching. I'm Dobbs. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel if you are not already, and I will see you next time.